Hi, this is Dan Maher, your instructor for Math98. Welcome. I'm going to go through just a quick few things to help you get started. This My Math Lab you're seeing on the screen now is the platform we'll do all our work in, even our testing. And we'll talk about that in a little bit with the assignment schedule. This view, just to tell you a few things. One is there's some options in here that are not available, like study plan and those kinds of things are doing that. If you had that open in an old course, it doesn't really count for anything in this course. And the idea behind this platform is that it's telling you what's up next to do. But in this section here, even in the assignments, when you look at assignments, it only shows you what is available now. Where the calendar will show you some things that are coming up. So if I go to the beginning of the course here, it said that the intro assignment was due on Monday, and then the review, chapter 1 review, was due today. Now I do allow on homework category things. You can work past the due date with no cost to your score. The chapter 1 quiz just became available on this day, Tuesday. Tomorrow it's due. And you can do quizzes usually up to 3 times or 3 attempts, and I only take the highest score. So it's a way to practice for the test, which is a majority of your grade for this quarter. So, but here the chapter 2 quiz is available, but you won't see it as on your assignment portions because it's not available yet. So the calendar has some extra value in the sense if you want to plan out your week a little bit. And on Friday this is due, and then next week the chapter 3 quiz is due, and becomes available. And then on Wednesday it's due. And then what I do on most testing, the proctored tests have to be done in front of a approved proctor. I give 2 sessions on the Wenatchee campus for each proctored test, usually one in the early afternoon or later afternoon, and early evening, so I can accommodate work schedules. And also I give a 2-day window, and this is like coming to class. You need to be at class to take a test in a sense, but I give you 2 days so you can schedule into this. If you're near the OMAC campus, you can use the OMAC testing center, call them, make an appointment. But that, in this case, for chapter 1 through 3 tests, you need to do that on this Wednesday or Thursday. Now, there's a lot of stuff in this first week and a half, just to review prior information that's needed for this course. If you tested in the Math98, you probably need to take some time on this and make sure that you're pretty solid on this material, because we'll be using it, almost every part of it, in Math98. So generally this calendar, just to give you how I use this interface, this calendar is pretty important. You can see your grade book at any time, and it'll I haven't done any assignments under this user, but it shows you the category weights, it's called. And one way to look at that is there's going to be 100 points for the entire quarter. 10 of those points will be created with your overall percentage of homework. So if you got 90% on all your homework for the quarter, you'd get 9 points. On quizzes, if you got 90% on all your quizzes, you'd get 27 points. And if you got 100% on your tests, which I've never seen, but you'd get 60 points, and you add those points up, and that'll be your percentage for the quarter. Obviously, you can see that tests, these proctored tests, are 60% of your quarter grade. And, they'll move around. Your grades will move around quite a bit at the beginning, but as you take multiple quizzes, and you're sitting at an 80% average, if you got 100% on a quiz, it's going to only bring that average up a couple points. So, and then take that times the 30 points. But that's how category weights work. So no matter how many assignments we do a lot more homework, but the homework is set up to prepare for these quizzes and tests where 90% of your grade is, your quarter grade is taken. So it's a good idea to think of that the homework is required. And because I've never seen anybody do well on this course if they start skipping homework assignments. You could say, well, I could, like if you did no homework, you'd lose 10 points. But I've never seen any student do well on quizzes and tests without doing homework. And the homework has, the videos are involved, the media is involved in that. So when I'm working on an assignment like this review, you'll see that there's media here. And so here's media or a video or an interaction with your computer that represents every section of chapter 1. I also put in here a link to your online book. I only put one in here for this because that'll bring up your online book, which you can use instead of having a paper book. But so I want you to be able to say, or be able to easily link to this very valuable resource. So as this is loading up, you'll see that it's really exactly, if you have a paper book, it's exactly what's in your paper book. And so you can go here, the pages are here, you can page through, and so on. And one of the other goals that I have in your ability to get through this course is that you learn how to use these books effectively. Almost every math book has the same pattern of giving information. And algebra is really a language, and it's really about learning the language and the rules. It's, if this was an English class, you have certain words mean things. You try to hopefully not make everything generalized, and then you have grammar rules and those kinds of things on how to construct a sentence. Algebra is exactly the same thing. If you're in Spanish, they have different rules. Algebra is a language. It has real specific, hard placed, or hard cased, I guess would be a better way to say it, rules, and you need to be able to follow these rules exclusively. And then they give you ways to work around, like order of operations and so on. And so it's not like a novel reading these things, but you learn how to pick out important stuff here. Like, in fact, this page 5 is really important. You're probably going to reference this page 5, or you should reference this page 5 almost every word problem you get to be able to translate into the right operations here. So the book is very handy. The online's pretty good. It actually has, there's an app you can get, and look for that under Pearson or My Math Lab. Search for those kinds of things. There's an app that displays the book in a very readable sense on a phone, which is nice. So if I was going to do this assignment, notice that when I clicked on this, it checked. I actually got a point for looking at the book. All this media has points attached to it. In fact, there's 14 points for media. So look at this, go through the video, and before you start the questions, the review is in order, so it kind of goes through the book in this way. Make sure that, especially section 2 and section 3, this fraction notation, knowing the rules about fractions inside and out, is going to be critical to get through algebra or anything else after that. And once you know the rules, it's kind of like baseball. If you know the rules, you can kind of get some strategies on how to win the game, right? So we're going to hopefully talk a lot about problem solving with the rules. But if you don't know the rules, it really can be frustrating. So let's get the rules down, and then we'll, even in this first chapter, they start talking a little bit about what is the best way to go about a problem like this. And if I go into a question, just some things about the display. I think the intro assignment goes through how to enter answers and stuff like that. But there's also assigned media to it. You know, if you get a question, you're not quite sure what they're trying to do, you can do that, and that says evaluate. If you don't know what evaluate means or expression, you probably have a problem. And then, but this means that what does this expression 6y do? And when you have a number against a variable, it means multiply. So this is 6 times some replacement for this variable y, which they say is equal to 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. And then I can check the answer, which is very nice. And if the answer is not correct, it actually gives me a chance to do another problem. So like this one, which is a very good one to look at, translate this algebraic expression. In other words, translate just like if you're going to translate from Spanish to English or English to Spanish, same idea. We're going to go from English to algebra, okay? So 9 less than y would be translated. If I put in here 9 minus y, and then I check the answer, it says this is incorrect. You translated the phrase y less than 9. It says what I did was the other phrase, remember to subtract 9 from y. And an easy way to check this, and I emphasize this a lot when I have videos and stuff, is, you know, the easy way to translate this stuff is pretend you know the number. If I said 9 less than 10, would you go 9 minus 10? That'd give you -1, where 10 minus 9 would give you 1, and that makes sense. So it's supposed to be y minus 9, and then check answer. So it tries to help you, which is good. You should never practice doing things wrong. You'll probably revert back to something even you corrected. But if you did a certain type of problem wrong 7 times and then figured out what was wrong, did it right 3 times, when you're taking a test, maybe that thing you practiced 7 times might come out. So make sure you're doing the homework correctly, and you'll be more successful. So that's a little bit about how that is. And again, these are tracked. It's showing, you know, you can come and go to these different assignments. You know, if you run out of time or get distracted, those kinds of things, I can say, you know, okay, and then it kind of graded it. I can see the score in my grade book. I got a 4.48% because I only did 2 questions and a couple medias. So, and notice that the quiz says attempt 0 out of 3. I can do that 3 times, and that could mean I start doing this. It considers itself a test in a sense, and now you'll see there won't be any help when you're doing this. And you should attempt these quizzes. You're going to do these at home or in a computer lab or wherever you work. And the first attempt you should take on this would be, let's see how I'm doing on this material without any help. Because a lot of times when you're doing the homework, you're using some little bit of help. You might only be having a problem with one little issue, but you keep on referring to something else to help you with that. You get into a testing situation, that one thing may cause you to get half these problems wrong. So you want to catch that stuff. And that's one of the advantages of taking this quiz. And again, that first attempt is to say, where am I? Do I need to study some more? Also, when I finish this quiz, I can go back and review what I got wrong, and then I can take it again. But I would say, well, you better look at what you got wrong and see what you need to do to fix that. Take the quiz again. And probably the third attempt, which is very good study for the test, is make sure you get a good grade. I mean, if I got like a 60% the first attempt, I went back and looked at some stuff and I got an 80% the second attempt with no help, you might be, pretty well prepared for the test. But that third attempt, I'm going to try to get 100%. I'll get the book out or use other resources on my computer and try to get the highest score I can, because that's what goes into your grade book and affects your quarter grade. Not that the grade's everything, but if you go through that process, hopefully in the right way, you're going to be prepared for the most important or the biggest effect on your grade, which is that proctored test. The assignment schedule, and I think that covers most of the things you need to do in here. I got a couple tabs on here that you don't, but here's the assignment schedule that's in your syllabus. If you didn't notice, that syllabus is kind of long. It has how to get into my math lab in it, but also the whole quarter is scheduled out. This usually stays pretty accurate unless there's some kind of issue that comes up during the quarter. And notice that the proctored chapter 1 through 3 test, which is this review portion of Math 93, I give 2 days. It isn't that you're going to take 2 tests. I have a 2-day window that I allow this proctored test to be scheduled in. Usually I'll try to get a Thursday evening or Thursday during the day and maybe a Wednesday evening on Wenatchee campus, so you can schedule around that, and I'll send out a form that tells you're going to be required to tell me where you plan to take your test. OMAC campus has the testing center. If you're nowhere near Wenatchee campus or OMAC campus, I do allow other proctoring to occur. I do not want to create proctors around this idea that you can't take the test or you get behind and just want to take the test later. That's not an appropriate excuse. If you can't make this 2-day window, that's like skipping a test in a regular class. If you don't have a valid excuse, you'll get a 0, and it'd be very tough to take a couple zeros on tests and pass this class. So not a good idea. If you had a death in the family, those kinds of things, let me know and we'll try to work something out. If you have a regional library in your area and you're not close to OMAC or Wenatchee campus, I do allow, under approval, I'll allow them to proctor tests in the library for you. But again, that's not to change the schedule so you can work around doing that. If you can make it or you're close to Wenatchee campus, plan on taking that test with me, which is nice. I get to meet you. I can also help you with any questions you have too. So this, after this kind of really push through a lot of material, then it spreads out. We're going to go one section at a time. We have reviews in the middle, and then we have these quizzes, which you can take usually 3 attempts at to get you ready for this proctor test that has a 2-day window again. And I think that's enough for right now, and I'll post this where hopefully everybody can get into this. And I'll have more later. Thanks.